Okay, we're back again with John Oliver. He's going to be digging into an important topic in America, which a lot of people may not know this. This is what America has a big problem with the death penalty. Here we go. I will censor, mute certain curse words, bad language, just for those who are sensitive to it. There's the F-bomb used. John Oliver is a credible source. This source of information that we get here on HBO, the reason why I pay for this is because it's eye-opening. It's always been an eye-opener. A lot of people just like to go about their lives, not worry about anything else in the world. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I've always been an outspoken, caring, compassionate person trying to spread goodness and wellness where I can. And in this case, for everybody following me, this is a special segment going back to episode 9 of UFOs. This is going back quite a ways in the history, following up as we continue on with some of the videos that John Oliver has continued with. This is an important one because it unveils important discussions of the death penalty and other concerns that we have in America. So check this out.
The death penalty. America's had it for centuries, but its methods have varied considerably, as this documentary from the 80s explains in weirdly comprehensive fashion.
The methods America has used to execute its criminals have changed over the years, from burning to drawing and quartering to hanging. Criminals have been axed, crucified, buried alive, pressed with weights, stoned, impaled, starved, decapitated, and gibbeted.
Okay, so his show is a comedian show. If you hear any laughter when you watch this show, take it with a grain of salt. He's not actually trying to make fun of it completely, but he does say holy to that, and then he starts to ask the question, what the heck is guillotine?
If that list wasn't so horrifying, the creativity would be genuinely impressive. I mean, pressed with weights? You've got to be pretty inventive to be brainstorming ways to kill people and think, let's panini them. Second,
again, take that joke with a grain of salt. He is a British comedian. He is taking British comedy. If you don't know him, don't take it that offensively, okay?
what the fuck is axed? At first I thought, well, it's...
Well, okay, I didn't get the mute on that one, so sorry about that for everybody. I'll try to get the next one.
beheading, but then decapitated is listed as its own thing. So is axe just someone hacking at you like they're in one of those lumberjack competitions? Or did people just throw axes like they're at a bachelorette party in Brooklyn that needed an activity? And as they...
Don't take offense there, New York. He means love toward you, New York.
Gibbeting. That is a horrifying
And Brooklyn.
definition for an adorable word. Gibbeting.
He thinks it's adorable. I think it's kind of weird.
Sounds like what you'd call baby goats rushing to food at a petting zoo, or the weird head movement that pigeons make. And it's
That was funny. I got to give him credit on that one.
grossest. Gibbeting should be when you have the hiccups, but there's a tiny bit of throw up in it. Not hanging someone by chains for days until they rot to death.
True
Let's
facts.
acknowledge, we talked about the death penalty before in our second ever show back in
Yes, he used to look like that, and yes, he makes fun of himself, and I think he even says it here.
2014, and again 5 years later in an episode narrowly beating out Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 as the least anticipated sequel of all time.
I mean, who would be anticipating talks about the exposure of the death penalty? It's not that exciting. And you're about to see a shocking revelation for all you guys who don't know this. It's not to put a darker message on it, but check this out. Here's our 36 count or 34 count felon Donald Trump coming up next, talking about how much he loves the death penalty.
And to quickly summarise the arguments in those stories, our stance was that the death penalty is morally wrong, there is no humane way to do it, and any discussion of one is akin to coming up with the best...
Oh, okay. So yeah, he said it.
There's simply no right way to do that. But we need to talk about the death penalty...
And I don't think the joke of literally having inappropriate relations with somebody's mother is the right analogy, but he puts it in this joke. It's not that heartful. This is only for adults to really watch that are adult sense minds. So if you get the joke, and even if you're younger, you get what I'm saying. You're not excluded from this group, but this isn't really targeting or for you if you're under 18. So you really don't have a place here to make a real true opinion. Everything else in this video is helpful for you to learn from. You can probably take away from the death penalty from this.
Because there have been some grim developments. For one thing, since our last piece aired, the US has executed 91 people, and 13 of those executions were done at the federal level, which is actually unusual, given that for almost 2 decades there had been 0. And all those 13 federal executions were under Trump, who went on an execution spree at the end of his term, including the first lame duck.
You don't believe this? Check it out. Look it up. You don't believe what he's saying? Check it out. Even you who are, MAGA supporters, check it out. I don't know if every MAGA supporter is enthusiastic of the death penalty, but Donald Trump sure is. So check this out.
Federal execution in more than a century.
I know I'm not.
Which really shouldn't be surprising,
And
given his outspoken love of capital punishment, from taking out full-page ads calling for it to be applied.
look that up too. If you guys don't know about the Brooklyn black African-American teenagers back in the late 90s, it was even in Law and Order, in the discussion, the original Law and Order, how controversial that was, how Donald Trump was obsessed with the death penalty. And my honest take on this, I'll tell you, there are better ways for certain crimes than just the death penalty. You know, if you're going to talk about the death penalty, quite frankly, it's really quite simple. The worst, most egregious crimes that scar a child, that take the lives of many innocent, the killing of a police officer, a federal agent, any type of assassination, killing, any high-ranking crime, any crime that does a detrimental amount of damage to a family, to the innocent of whom did not deserve it, in such heinous acts of such egregious violence in such horrific manner, I can see the logic and the reason for the death penalty. For all other reasons and intended purposes, I think it can sometimes be misused, and it sometimes often is misused. So, check this out. If I get this back playing.
To constantly saying things like this.
I've always supported the death penalty. I don't even understand people that don't.
Death penalty. Bring it forth.
I am so for the death penalty.
Bring it
Remember
forth.
the old days of deserter, what happened? Bang. You know the old days, boom, firing squad. You know the old days, bing, bong.
Oh my goodness. And he said that in Derry, New Hampshire. I don't know how Derry, New Hampshire is going to recover from that, but he said that. Like go back a little bit, and he says it right.
What happened? Bang. You know the old days, boom, firing squad. You know the old days, bing, bong. When we were strong. When we were strong.
He thought about it.
Ultimate penalty.
You saw his eyeball reaction to that statement. You saw his eyes kind of go up. Watch this again. Watch. So,
Firing squad. You know the old days, bing, bong.
right here,
When
right before he turns his head,
bong. When we were strong. When we were strong.
his eyes right there kind of turn up a little bit.
The death penalty. Now, maybe our country's not ready for that. It's possible. It's possible.
Okay, and here's the takeaway. John Oliver doesn't even touch on this. Look at what's in the background. Opioids, the crisis next door. He's talking about the death penalty when the opioid crisis next door is behind him. Unbelievably just unfit, unqualified, but that's who Americans chose. That's what the majority of America chose. We need to stand together. We got to take information where we get it. And right now we're digging up things that are fresh from this year. That even over the Biden administration, we're taking things that are facts from what happened. Check this out. Let us finish.
That our country's not ready for that. And I can understand it, maybe. Although personally, I can't understand that.
First, to hear the phrase, bring it forth, come out of his mouth. Second, how... But also, can't understand. And finally, do you think guns go bing bong? Why would you make that sound when there are so many correct gun noises? Bang, boom, pew, pow. I'd even accept blammo, but bing bong? The fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so anyway, apart from the cursing and the last bit right there, the part I kind of silenced out, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to back it up a little bit. So,
Out of his mouth.
this is the full segment.
Our country's not ready for that. It's possible. It's possible that our country's not ready for that. And I can understand it, maybe. Although personally, I can't understand that.
First, genuinely shocking to hear the phrase, bring it forth, come out of his mouth. Second, how can you understand, but also can't understand? And finally, do you think guns go bing bong? Why would you make that sound when there are so many correct gun noises? Bang.
So you guys have already heard that, and you heard him make his one curse. He does curse like off and on, but that's an important takeaway from this video. Mcluvin News signing out. All contributions to John Oliver with Last Week Tonight. That's his channel. I implore you guys to check it out and follow along and follow me, because this is more than just taking cited source information from a segment from John Oliver. I ask everybody if there comes a time when I can create t-shirts, merchandise, or is it called merch? I can start donating to this cause, which I'm going to do on my own. If anybody is open or interested, you guys are always welcome at any time to talk to me about this. Anybody who wants to join me, you're welcome too. I need solemn, committed people with open hearts, because I don't have anybody but myself doing this with me right now. So any information I provide to you, I proudly do it as a free commentator, free reporter, free president of news of my business, Mcluvin News. I own the trademark to Mcluvin. So that's MCLUVIN. Thank you again for watching Mcluvin News. Signing out.